On the menu today, cornbread dressing. Okay, so today I am making homemade, well, semi-homemade cornbread dressing. And the reason that I say it's semi-homemade is because I actually made some cornbread, but I'm also going to use a stuffing mix. So I'm just allowing my skillet to heat up a little bit, and then I'm going to add in some sausage. I would say this is probably about a fourth of a cup, and I'm just going to break this up. My stove is on medium low, and normally I get sausage that has sage in it, but this breakfast sausage, or the store that I went to, they didn't have it, so I just got the hot sausage because I also want to add a little bit of heat to my dressing. So we're going to brown that. Now I've already prepared some cornbread muffins, miniature cornbread muffins, and I'm also going to be adding that when it's time for my stuffing. About a half a cup of celery here that I'm adding, a fourth a cup of yellow bell pepper, a fourth a cup of red onion, and I'm going to add that into the sausage and let that cook together. Now I'm not making a really big pan of dressing because it's only me that's going to be eating it. So you would just adjust your ingredients according to the number of people that you're serving. Now my goal here is to, of course, cook the sausage and also cook the bell pepper, the onion, and the celery. Soften those up. If you weren't adding any meat, I would probably soften up my vegetables with some butter and olive oil in a skillet. And I'm going to add some melted butter at a later time. Okay. So now, as you can see, my sausage is pretty much done. My vegetables are translucent. I'm going to turn my burner down to low, and I'm going to add 2 sticks of butter into the skillet to melt and continue to cook the meat and the vegetables. This butter is very important for a dressing. So, add that in there. Let it deglaze the pan, and really, I think I'm just going to turn my stove off and just allow the butter to melt in here. Now, I haven't added any seasoning, any salt, any pepper. I haven't done anything. All I've done is add the sausage and the veggies. Alright, so now we're going to move on to putting our dressing together. Now, the reason that I use this stuffing mix, it could be stovetop, it could be any kind, is because I like the actual seasoning that they put into the packet. Even though I'm going to re-season it, I also like the seasoning that they include in their stuffing mix. And then I have my own cornbread here that I've made. Okay, my corn muffins. And I'm going to add those in there too. And I'm just going to break these up. These are just the mini muffins that I had, and basically I just used the honey cornbread mix by Zatarain's. I really like that. It's not too sweet, and I like the flavor, so I made that. And I'm just going to use about 4 of those mini muffins and add to it. Right. Okay, now I'm going to add in our butter and our sausage. Now, I'm going to season that with a little bit of poultry seasoning. And on this one, I'm not going to provide the measurements because everybody makes dressing different. And when I make dressing, I kind of taste and then season and then taste and then season on this one. Okay, so here for this recipe, I'm just going to show you what I use, but as far as the actual amounts, that's something that you're going to have to play with and tweak on your own. I'm also going to add a little bit of paprika in here. I'm going to add some sage, not too much sage though. Creole seasoning, some garlic powder, whole cumin seeds, and a little bit of oregano. That was the cumin. I'm sorry, that was the oregano. I'm gonna add a little bit of the cumin seeds. Okay. Now to this, I'm also going to add some eggs and a little bit of chicken gravy and some chicken stock. But before I do that, I'm going to mix all this in together. And I'm going to taste this mix before I put the eggs in there so that I can kind of know what the seasoning is. I'm also going to add some cayenne pepper to this too, and a little bit of salt. And I'm going to taste it first. And I'm going to sprinkle in some black pepper. Alright, now to that, I'm going to start adding in my chicken stock, just a little bit at a time. And that was about 1/4 of a cup. And then, excuse me, I'm also going to add in 2 eggs. Now for me, I like to use my hands to mix my dressing around. But of course, you don't have to. You can use a wooden spoon, a spatula, whatever you like to. For me, I like to get down and dirty with my food. Okay. Now the reason that I add gravy is because it gives it a different texture, and it also gives it some extra flavor. I'm gonna add just a little bit of that. Now when I have it, I also add cream of chicken soup mix to it, but I don't have any, so I'm not going to use that this time. I'm going to add a little bit more chicken stock to it, and I want you to notice the consistency of this dressing. You want your dressing to be kind of wet, like this. Remember, this is bread, and it's going to soak up the liquid in here. So if you don't put enough liquid in your dressing to begin with, it's not going to, it's going to be too dry. And I kind of like fluffy dressing. I'm going to add just a little bit more. see the consistency of that. You can still see the juice in there, but it's not too dry, okay? And it's not too wet. Now, what we're gonna do is we are going to put this in a greased baking dish, and we're gonna bake it for about 45 minutes. Now, there's a raw egg in here, 2 raw eggs in here, and so some people would not want to taste it. It doesn't bother me at all. So I taste it for additional seasoning. I'm just gonna throw a little bit more of this Cajun Creole seasoning in here. Okay. All right, then we're gonna pour this into our baking dish, and we're gonna bake this from 375-degree oven. So we're gonna take a look at it after about 35 minutes. Now we are going to bake this in the oven we're gonna start off with 35 minutes. I'm gonna cover it up, and then I'll take it out after 35 and let you know what it looks like. So this dressing has been in the oven for 35 minutes. So what I like to do is I like to fluff my dressing out. I see, as you can see on the corners here. Let me see if I can get the camera closer. If you can see on the corner here how the dressing has pulled away from the side. So that lets me know it's cooking very well. But I like to fluff it up, and then I like to put it back in the oven. So I'll put it back in the oven for about 20 minutes, and then it's going to be done. It tastes amazing. It's nice and fluffy, full of flavor. Still a little bit wet. I don't want it to be too dry, but I'm gonna put this back in the oven for about 20 minutes on 375, and then I'll come back with my finished product. And here is our finished dish. Cornbread dressing. And let's see, that's my macaroni. That'll be for another video. Right there. Gooey macaroni and cheese. Today we're talking about this dressing. So I want to zoom in on it so you can see a little better what it looks like. Then I got my little butter down at the bottom, but it's still nice and moist, and it's not dried out. The flavor is amazing. It's fully done. It was in the oven on 375 for 45 minutes, and it's ready to go. You can see the top is crumbly, but the bottom and in the middle is nice and moist and buttery. That's it. So I hope you'll try this dish. Cornbread stuffing. I'm going to fry some chicken. I have my macaroni, and then I have my candied yams that I'm going to go with it. Some cabbage and greens, and I'll show you how to make all of those dishes later in other videos. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy it. Peace and blessings.